Hey guys, it's Tim, and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited, as we are here on the 13th of July, 2019, to talk about everything that went down tonight at AEW Fight for the Fallen. Now, this show was in Jacksonville, Florida, at the Daily Place Plaza. I think it's what it's called, Daily Place Plaza. I just know it's Daily Place. They kept saying Plaza or something like that, and I loved the venue. I thought that the venue was cool. It's a covered venue, but at the same time an outdoor venue, which is really, really cool. I really enjoyed it. I thought it looked different than anything you see from other wrestling companies, because usually other wrestling companies are just inside of an arena or inside of inside of a normal building, and then they make it look like what they make it look like, other than, WrestleMania at football stadiums, and possibly going forward but the Royal Rumble at baseball stadiums. Other than those, this differentiated things, and I think that, to be honest, they should run this building often. Maybe not a lot often, because you don't want to go to Jacksonville too much, but whenever they go to Florida, if they got to go to that area of Florida, boom, right there, because this is a very, very cool building. I liked this building a lot. I know it's good for them because it's connected right to the Jacksonville Jaguar Stadium that the Khan family does own. So it's not like they're paying rent for the building for the night. Anyway, so that's another positive. Chris McNutt, $2 super chat donation, says, "What do you think of Sean Spears' chairman shirt?" I thought it was cool. I saw it the other day. He posted about it on Twitter or Instagram or something. So, just looking at the chat, Luke Might says, "I didn't watch the 6-man, but did MJF turn on Sean Spears?" There was really nothing, and we'll get into that, but really, it was just they didn't want to be partners, but it wasn't really much of a, we hate each other, we're going to beat each other up instead of working with each other kind of deal, if that makes sense. It was more of a, I'm going to show you that I'm better than you. So, that's all it was. But looking to see who's with us here in the chat, we've got Eric Range, CT Wolf, Luke Might, Alex Agulia, Jeff Guevara, Henry McKenna Carvalho, Kristen McNutt. What's going on? You great people. So, and Henry McKenna Carvalho right there he basically led me into my next question. How many of you guys either A, only watched Fight for the Fallen, watched Fight for the Fallen and Evolve, or did you guys also watch Evolve and Fight for the Fallen? Like, did you watch both? Only watch Evolve? Only watch AEW? I want to know. Let me know in the chat. Also, Catching Fire. I don't know why you would think that. I just praised AEW. I just said that the show was good. I loved the building that they were in, and that they should run there more. So I don't know why you're going to say that in my chat. Henry said he watched both. I tried to watch both. I watched more of Fight for the Fallen, but I did catch at least the last 2 matches of Evolve, and then I also saw the tag team title match. Just looking here at the chat right here. Luke Might says, "Team you predicted was right. The Lucha Bros are going to face the..." Yeah, I felt like you got to end that feud. You've had enough of matches, so why not end it in a ladder match? Big blow off. You can't just have another singles match. So going with the ladder match, bada boom. Catching Fire, I did last show because I did not really like Fyter Fest. I thought Fight for the Fallen was a better show. So, just saying, guy. And there was stuff I did like on Fyter Fest. There was. I didn't say that the whole show was garbage or anything. Just putting that out there. I did not. I thought there was some good things. More meh. And there was, just like tonight, there were some things on tonight's show that kind of was like, whatever. But there were some really good matches. I thought the main event was pretty good. I thought Kenny Omega versus CIMA was amazing. I thought, Kip Sabian and Hangman could have been better. But let's just get right into it. Let's talk about this show. So the show kicked off pre-show. Oh, by the way, show went 4.5 hours almost. Just shy of 4.5 hours. So, kind of a long show. It flowed well, though. So, Sonny Kiss took on the Librarian Peter Avalon. They need to end this Librarian gimmick, but I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to keep the Librarian thing going as a rib. It's a BTE thing, and so they're going to keep it going and going and going. I don't like it, but we'll see. A lot of people don't like it. So Peter Avalon tried cutting a pre-match promo, but Sonny Kiss made his entrance with some Jacksonville Jaguar cheerleaders. Really cool entrance there with the whole choreographed dance and all that. I thought it was cool. Kiss was accompanied by the Jaguar cheerleaders, like I said. The mascot was there as well. Fans really liked Sonny Kiss as he shined early. Avalon cut him off by grabbing his leg off of a super kick attempt and throwing Kiss down, landing right into the splits. Avalon hit a really nice drop kick to the sternum. Avalon threw Kiss outside, expecting Leva to do some sort of shenanigans, but Leva just picked Sonny and rolled him back up into the ring. Sonny then broke into his comeback, which included a standing moonsault called the Twerk Salt. Excuse me. Avalon, excuse me. Something caught my throat all of a sudden. Avalon missed a middle rope moonsault and was pinned after a middle rope, a split leg drop, which is the same move that Christy Hemme used to use. Sonny Kiss picks up the victory. I thought, match-wise, solid. Once because the first 2 minutes or whatnot of a what's it called? Librarians match is all the shushing. Shh, shh, shh. But once you get past that, at least with this match, maybe not the Allie Leva base match, but with this match, once they got past the shushing and getting rid of the gimmick, I thought it was good. I thought Sonny Kiss and Peter Avalon worked very, very well together and gave us a great match to start off the night. Then moving forward, we got a women's tag team match. It was Dr. Britt Baker and Riho taking on the team of Shoko Nakajima and B. Priestley. So this was both Shoko and B's first matches in AEW. B and Shoko both came out with their championships representing Stardom and Joshi Pro, which I thought that was a very nice touch, letting them come out with their titles. We did see it at Double or Nothing as well, but I just think it's cool that they're letting them come out with their titles from other promotions and also letting them come out and not just having them have the belts and not saying anything, but acknowledging and telling us what these belts are. Now, Woken Kingslayer, before I get into this women's match, he says the match was fine, talking about Sonny Kiss and Sonny Kiss and Peter Avalon, but he said the match was fine, but the Librarian gimmick just turns me off. And like I said, me too. But once you got past that, after like the minute or two of the shushing, it was just a good match. Great. I can't go great, but a good, solid match. I don't see why not, CT Wolf. I really don't see why not. He says, do you think TNT going to let Sonny Kiss twerk so much on TV? Maybe not. Well, I mean, I don't even think he did it. You're insinuating that he twerked too much? Or just a lot? Because I didn't think he twerked a lot. I thought he twerked a couple times in the match, and that was okay. Nothing that I thought was overdone. So, only person in this match who felt like a babyface the entire time was Riho. For some reason. It was weird. It was really weird. Nakajima and Priestley were pretty good heels, and Baker was definitely coming across a little heelish at times. Baker got confused at one point and tried to tag in Nakajima, and then instead, as quick as she could, ran to the other side of the ring to tag in Riho. Fans briefly let her know about that. Priestley stomped down on the elbow of Riho, similar to the Shayna Baszler elbow stomp spot. At this point, it might have been a little before this match started, but all of a sudden, if you were watching on BR Live, the closed caption came on. And it wasn't even captioning correctly. It was a lot of messed up words, and it was weird. And then it was captioning, and then there was another black bar across the bottom of the screen. And it was very distracting. So they fixed it eventually, but it was just like, what happened here? So going forward, despite being only 4'11", Nakajima worked well as a heel, even though in the opening spots the fans were more behind her than they were Britt Baker. Nakajima hit a missile dropkick, then sent Baker across the ring and let her make the hot tag to Riho. Match broke down into a four-way after Priestley and Baker punched it out. This was okay. They started throwing forearms at each other. It was okay. They dragged their partners into the corners and tagged themselves in. Like I said, they started throwing forearms, and it was all right. Priestley used a double springboard knee that actually looked really good. Almost looked like it knocked Britt Baker out, though. But it was cool. Riho hit a really nice Northern Lights suplex and a double foot stomp for a pair of 2 counts. Nakajima missed a senton, but pinned Riho after a step-up Hurricane Rana for the victory. The 2 debuting women, Nakajima and B. Priestley, did come out victorious. And it's okay because, correct me if I'm wrong, Britt Baker won a Double or Nothing. Riho won a Fyter Fest. So they both got victories, so it's okay if they lost. So then, the announcers state is that at this point, Jim Ross wasn't out there yet. And it was Alex Marvez, who they need to get rid of. He just sounds bored most of the time. And like he reading off paper, trying to figure out who's who. But they go, we're going to send you to a interview in the back. I forget the interview girl's name. It wasn't Alicia Tout, even though they used her. They said they were going to use her going forward. I don't know what happened with that. But they're like, we're going to send you an interview with Kip Sabian. So this was actually, I have my notes mixed up. So the Kip Sabian interview was before the women's tag. And instead it was Dustin and Cody. So they come back, they're like, well, that wasn't Kip Sabian. Then we got the Kip Sabian interview after the women's match. Kip Sabian said that he's not just here to sit around and be happy to collect a check or fill a spot, but he wants to prove himself. Sabian looked directly in the camera, grabbed the microphone, and said that Adam Page is getting everything handed to him because he's part of the elite. He then stated that he doesn't want to talk about himself. He doesn't want to be all obsessed. He knows that that's all Hangman Page is, obsessed with Jericho and going to All Out. Sabian said that he hopes that Page wins because that means he hopes that he beats Page because that could put him in line if Page wins it All Out for a shot at the AEW Championship. I thought it was a good promo. Kip Sabian came off like somebody who really wants to prove himself. I got a couple people in the chat saying that BR Live was laggy for them. So JR came out at the end of the buy-in. They ran down the card, and then the show started, the main card. It's MJF, Sammy Guevara, and the chairman, Shawn Spears, taking on Jimmy Havoc, Darby Allin, and Joey Janela. And this match under-delivered in my expectations. I thought there was going to be a lot more between Shawn Spears and MJF, but it was more of, I'm just going to be better than you. I'm going to try and do better than you. I can tell, yes, Jim Ross was better than he was the last 2 shows. I will give him that. They still need to get rid of Alex Marvez. He does not seem interested. He does not come off as someone that was excited to be doing what he was doing. It was like, they asked me to do this. I'm going to do my best-ish. Yeah. That's how he comes off to me. Luke Mike says, hey, Tim, will AEW have a mid-card title? I mean, probably eventually, but they haven't announced anything. All we know as a main world title, a women's title, and tag titles. So Spears and MJF argued at the start, which Spears mockingly clapped when MJF was being worked over early on. Neither would tag each other in, so they would tag in Guevara instead. We had some good stuff here. Solid wrestling from all 6 men, I'll give them that. Darby Allin was really over with the crowd after the match he had with Cody last 2 weeks ago. He demanded to be tagged in when Spears was in the ring. Spears got heat when he walked off and tagged out. Guevara flipped off Allin, so Darby tried to break his arm. Excalibur mentioned Janela trained by getting into fights with the absolute scum of the earth at a Blink-182 concert. Yes, they referenced the incident with Joey Janela and frickin' Enzo Amore. Let me reiterate that. Excalibur mentioned that Janela trained for this match by getting into a fight with, and I quote, the absolute scum of the earth at a Blink-182 concert. So Spears finally stayed in the ring for a prolonged period of time when Janela was down. Spears blind tagged himself in, so MJF blind tagged himself in. MJF mocked Spears by doing the Ty Dillinger 10-hand sign before flipping him off. Shockingly, that did not endear him to his partner, and this led to Janela making the hot tag to Havoc. The announcers let us know that Jimmy Havoc doesn't want to only be known for violence. At one point, Spears was in the corner. Havoc set MJF shoulder first into Spears, and then stood on MJF and did a superplex to Guevara. Everyone hit their big moves on everyone else. Guevara looked great with a series of dives out of the ring. Spanish Fly into the ring. Janela laid out Guevara with a Death Valley driver on the apron, and then specifically gave a middle finger to Jim Cornette, calling him out by name on camera. Finally, Spears would pin Darby Allin with a running Death Valley driver in the ring. They then showed pro NFL player, Jacksonville Jaguar player actually, Callis Campbell, AEW owner Sheed Khan, Private Party, and the 2 Farrah and Farrah sponsors at ringside. I didn't like this part. It was not needed. They then showed Alex J. sitting with Private Party. And for some reason, security comes up and goes, "Oh, J. you can't be here." What? Was he in somebody else's seat? I don't get that at all. So then we get Brandi versus Allie. I guess Brandi's a full-on heel. I guess Brandi's a big heel. So before the match starts, Brandi shook Allie's hand, held onto it, and the music of Awesome Kong would play. Awesome Kong would come down to the ring. She was actually in Brandi's corner. So I guess Awesome Kong is going to be Brandi's heavy, Brandi's muscle, maybe. We'll see. So Allie got the better of Brandi early on in this match, but rolled out of the ring to confront Awesome Kong, which allowed Brandi to hit a sliding dropkick and take over. This was more than passable. Allie looked good, as she usually does, and Brandi held her own. Allie used a reverse neck breaker while she yanked Brandi by her own hair, which can never feel good. Brandi used a tornado snap suplex, which looked a bit awkward, but got the job done. Allie used the best super kick ever, as she calls it, and a running Death Valley driver, but Kong yanked Brandi out of the ring as she was about to pin her. Allie tapped out Brandi at one point with a Dragon Sleeper, but again, Awesome Kong distracted the referee, so they didn't see the tap out. Then, Brandi would hit the Bionic Spear. She was a little off here, but it was okay, and pinned Allie for the victory. After the match, Brandi and Awesome Kong put the boots to Allie. We were about to beat her down. Kong was going to give her the implant buster when somebody's music played. Didn't know whose music it was, and now would come Aja Kong. Aja Kong would come down to the ring, get face-to-face with Awesome Kong. Referees and a bunch of others came down to break this up. Brandi was able to pry Awesome Kong away. Aja helped Allie to her feet, and they walked away together. So, this was not announced or anything, but it looks like we could get Aja Kong versus Awesome Kong maybe at All Out. We'll see. So going forward, we had a triple threat tag team match where the winners go on to All Out to face the Best Friends. The winners of that tag team match will get a bye in the first round of the AEW World Tag Team Tournament when it does start in the fall. So, based off of who won last time and the storyline they've been doing on the last two shows, it was obvious that the Dark Order had to win because they're in a program with the Best Friends. So you get them to the Best Friends at All Out by having them win this match. I thought this match was pretty cool. I thought there was a lot of cool things from Jack Evans and Angelico, Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, and the Dark Order was there. It took until the start of the match for them to distinguish which Dark Order member was which, Stu Grayson or Evil Uno. We saw Marco Stunt, for some reason, come out with Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. Played into the match later, though. Grayson was working over Angelico and was going for some big blows, but Uno insisted on being tagged in so he could chop Angelico's ear. Uno then gave Jungle Boy the what's what. Luchasaurus tagged in and squared off with the big man. Uno cowered away and tagged out to Jack Evans. Evans psyched himself up and got laid out. Eventually, Dark Order took over on Jungle Boy. This included a back suplex on the ring apron, which is, as the announcers let us know, the hardest part of the ring. Also a slingshot swanton by Grayson. Dark Order were being as good as they could here. I thought they came off really well, better than expected. I've only seen them a couple times before. They were taking out everybody at one point, including yanking both Evans and Angelico off the apron when Jungle Boy went for a tag. Uno mocked Luchasaurus, so he gave Luchasaurus, great athlete here. At one point, he was in the ring with Jungle Boy. They were in the ring together. And Alex Marvez calls him Jungle Kid. Can't even get the guy's name right. He said it like, I don't know how many times before. In the same match. Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy. His partners on commentary were saying Jungle Boy. But Alex Marvez calls him Jungle Kid. Okay. So, Luchasaurus chokeslams Evans over the top rope on top of Angelico, which was followed by Jungle Boy doing a shooting star press onto both of them. Angelico gave Jungle Boy the running BT bomb and appeared to be seconds away from victory when Marco Stunt hit the ring, gave Jack Evans a Hurricane Rana. Referee, well, I mean, it's a three-way, so you can't call it disqualification. Referee tried to throw him out, and instead, Luchasaurus grabbed him and threw him over the top rope onto Angelico at ringside. Very slim ringside area here, too. Very small, just enough to barely get your moves in. Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy then did an amazing double-team powerbomb here. I mean, just flat out amazing on Jack Evans. Uno finally got in, run a little wild, pinned Lucha Boy with Fatality, which is their double-team blockbuster. Dark Order will now go on to All Out to face the Best Friends, where the winners, like I stated, are getting a bye in the first round of the tournament. So I want to say thank you to Kayvon Brown for the Super Chat donation. Gabriel Endgame says, where was Golden Boy? Well, Golden Boy only worked Fyter Fest because he was there for the CEO tournament. He's not going to be a full-time guy going forward. He's got another announcing gig. He does Titan Games for The Rock and NBC. I don't know if they're coming back with another season or not. And he also does a lot of different video game tournaments around the country all the time. That's his job. He's a video game tournament announcer. So him working the Fyter Fest show just made sense because he was already there doing the announcing for CEO, and since it was in conjunction with CEO, it was great. He was great. I wish they can get him full time, but I don't see it happening. I know he's got a pretty busy schedule. Ace Productions says, I love to see Chris Van Vliet on commentary. I don't know if he's wanting to do commentary. I don't know if they're interested in that. And I don't even know if that's his thing. He's great at interviewing guys. But have we ever seen him do commentary on something? Have we ever seen him commentate a show? Whether that's sports, whether that's video gaming, whether that's some sort of other competition. You don't know. You can throw Chris Van Vliet in there, and I don't think this would happen, but he could be worse than Alex Marvez. At least Alex Marvez has the history of announcing football. I mean, JR called him one of the greatest football commentators of all time. I wouldn't go that far. So we got Hangman Page and Kip Sabian. Story of this match was Page was fighting through a knee, and Sabian would not give up. And this match really didn't do it for me. I thought the match itself was good, but there was never that spot in the match that pulled me in and made me say, whew, I like this a lot. It was more of, okay, those guys are good. There was nothing that they did that felt, wow, I need to watch more of these guys. I mean, I love Hangman Page. I've liked Hangman for a long time. I saw him before he was in Bullet Club and thought this guy's going to be something. But I don't know. There was just something with him and Kip Sabian. Maybe it was the fact that I expected it to be shorter. Like, first off, on that note, I don't think this did Hangman any favors going as long as it did. You do not want a guy that is challenging for your world title in 1 month, month and a half, to go in a match where you have the 30-minute time limit and he can barely beat this guy before the time limit. Yeah, he won. But, so, if Kip Sabian could draw him to 19 minutes and 3 seconds, Jericho, you got to assume, is, quote-unquote, better than Kip Sabian, so Jericho should be able to get him to the time limit. I don't think there's going to be a time limit in that match since it's crowning the first champion, but you just got to think, they should have built Hangman better in this match. Shouldn't have gone any more than, like, 10, 15 minutes. 15 minutes max. Make Hangman look good. You could still make Kip Sabian look good, but it was the fact of it went too long for me. And let's run it down. Page and Sabian went for strikes early on, knocking each other off their feet at one point. Page won the battle with a rolling elbow. Hangman sold the knee during the match, but did break out of a really nice bridging pump handle suplex. KBN used a springboard missile dropkick more than halfway across the ring. Sabian used a double foot stomp and then a senton when he landed, which was very unique. Page used a belly-to-belly overhead suplex that nearly dropped Sabian on top of his head. Kip Sabian was bleeding from the elbow somehow. I don't know exactly how that happened, but at one point he rolled over and you see a little bit of blood. Not much, nothing bad. Kip Sabian got his head basically taken off with a discus lariat. Sabian then took his own back suplex on the ring apron. Excalibur pointed out that the ring post is harder. Just as Page hit a beautiful moonsault off the top rope to the floor. Page then gave Sabian a powerbomb over the top rope to the ramp. It's one of those old, the TNA used to use this, where the ramp goes straight from the stage to the ring and it's all level. And it was made out of wood, as JR let us know multiple times. That was just made today, so because the wood hasn't settled, it's going to be harder. What? So he takes the powerbomb, he's laying there, referee's counting, gets to 9. Why did I say 19? This ain't New Japan. Gets to 9. Right before he says 10, Kip Sabian rolls himself back into the ring. They tease the time limit draw here. Right as Page hits the dead eye at the 19-minute mark. 1, 2, 3. Yes, Page won. Page should have won. But I don't think it should have gone so close to the time limit draw. I feel like if you're going to build up Page as a big, strong contender to be, what's the word I'm looking for, a world champion, then you really should not have it seem like he was barely able to beat Kip Sabian. Because now people are going to go and going, he was barely able to beat Kip Sabian. He can't beat Jericho. He's not going to beat Jericho. Jericho's going to whoop his ass. Which, after the match, what happened? One of the quote-unquote Dark Order's minions came down. Now, if you saw earlier when Dark Order made their entrance for their match, they had their minions, and one was wearing a long sleeve shirt. All the others, shirtless. So the minion wearing the shirt comes down into the ring as Hangman's getting his wits about him. And unfortunately, it was very obvious what this was, especially when they zoomed right in on his face. Yes, he's wearing a mask, but you can tell 100%. Oh, that's Jericho. Jericho beat down Hangman Page, hit him with a code breaker, gave him a Judas effect elbow, and fucked up the eye of Hangman. Busted open on the eyebrow, bruised all to hell under next to the eye. Hangman looked rough after that elbow. So next up, we got the Lucha Bros taking on the team of Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky of SCU. So Scorpio Sky and Pentagon did a series of one-upsmanship to start off this match. Pentagon shouted, "Cero Miedo!" And Scorpio Sky shouted, SCU! That ended soon enough as they resumed competition. Daniels was interfering with Phoenix and Pentagon's offense attempts here and there, so they gave the Fallen Angel one of the hardest chops I saw all day in either AEW or Evolve. Daniels, who was actually not in the match, did a moonsault onto both Lucha Bros outside the ring. Aubrey Edwards, the referee, didn't disqualify them, though, which is kind of weird, and instead kicked him out of ringside. So, unlike Marco's stunt earlier, Daniel said, "Okay, I'll leave." SCU got the heat on Phoenix for a little bit. Not a whole lot to say. Excellent tag match, but hey. At one point, Kazarian was sitting in the corner. Sky got hung up in the Tree of Woe, so Phoenix sent Pentagon over with a monkey flip cannonball into their opponents. Scorpio gave Pentagon a cutter on the apron, which is, as they stated, the hardest part of the ring. Pentagon jumped from the middle rope to hit a Canadian Destroyer, but Sky kicked out at 2. Excuse me. Still got some caught in my throat. Eventually, the Lucha Bros hit their double foot stomp package pile driver combination for the victory, going over SCU. After the match, Daniels came back. Lucha Bros grabbed a ladder, beat, and I mean beat, SCU down with this ladder. They literally had the ladder and threw it at SCU. All three guys took the ladder to the face. They then set up the ladder, put it in the middle of the ring, climbed up to the top, and basically said, "Young Bucks, we want you in Chicago at All Out in a ladder match." Not to toot my own horn, but I basically said that that's what they should have done right before Fyter Fest. When we were doing our predictions, I was like, Fyter Fest, the Bucks can win. Then you do a ladder match at All Out. Finally, let the Lucha Bros defeat the Bucks. Especially if it's a ladder match, so you gotta have something on the line. So you might as well put the AAA tag titles on the line, and there you go. Turdley says there's audio issues. Trust me, I'm not too close to my mic. My mic is at least half a foot away. So we then had Kenny Omega versus CIMA. I'll talk about it when we get to it later. So, great match here. This is probably my favorite match of the night. I thought both men worked well together. CIMA was using a lot of hard strikes, while Omega, at least early on, was doing some spectacular looking maneuvers. CIMA went for a 1-foot drop kick right to the nose. Omega got tired of being a punching bag, so he used a spinning heel kick and a running knee to the back of the head. CIMA used a sunset flip powerbomb and went for the Meteora, but Omega moved out of the way. Omega began working over the knee of CIMA. He basically was thinking, if I hurt his knee, he can't do the Meteora. So, good psychology here. Outside of the ring, the two were fighting, and Omega sidestepped a Pescado and then dropped CIMA's knee on the apron. CIMA laid out Omega on the timekeeper's table with a Meteora basically off the stage. In the ring, CIMA hit 2 more Meteoras, but Omega kicked out. Omega caught him with another Meteora. Omega caught him with a Meteora, hit a Snapdragon suplex, and a V-trigger for a 2. CIMA hit 2 more Meteoras, and then an air raid crash on the apron. CIMA hit a 5th Meteora, but Omega got his foot on the ropes barely to break the pin. Omega then hit the V-trigger, Tiger Driver 98 for a close near fall. He then picked him up with the one-winged angel, pinned CIMA, Kenny Omega victorious. Now the announcers kept stating in this match, even though he's only had one singles match in AEW, they're like, I don't know what's going to happen to Kenny Omega. He hasn't won a match yet in singles competition here in All Elite Wrestling. Bro, he had one match that lost to Jericho. He won at Fyter Fest. Yeah, it was a 6-man tag, but he still won. Them doing the whole Kenny Omega needs to win this match because he hasn't won a singles match. It's like, what does it matter right now? What does it really matter right now? So Omega wins, giving him the momentum going into All Out when he's going to face Jon Moxley. I see a couple people in the chat saying they were surprised there was no Jon Moxley pre-recorded video. I thought they would maybe do one as well. Jon Moxley could not be there because he's in Japan right now for the G1 Climax tournament. So Chris Jericho would then come out for his open mic time. Now, according to Dave Meltzer on the Wrestling Observer message board, he stated that Jericho messed up. Jericho was actually supposed to cut this promo after he attacked Hangman earlier in the night. And honestly, to be honest, I think it worked better this way. Jericho coming out, talking the crap, and then Hangman coming back. It would have been one thing if he, quote-unquote, took out Hangman and then Hangman just fought back. But I liked the way Jim Ross, when Jericho's out there, was like, we haven't heard a condition update on Hangman Page, so we don't know how he's doing. And then Page appears and ready to still fight. So I liked this better than what it would have been anyways. So Jericho, yeah, according to Meltzer, he messed up, but I think it was for the best. Jericho came out, stated that he had the blood of Hangman Page on his hands. He said that he's waited for weeks for AEW to give him a thank you. And then the fans started yelling thank you. He said, no, I don't want it from you. Here in Jerksonville. Crowd did not like this. Oh, you don't like that? About Jackoffsville. There was a guy in the crowd booing and yelling at Jericho. He said, sit down, fatty. He called them a white trash Riviera. Jericho said that he'd get his thank you by beating each member of the AEW roster one at a time. He said no one would be here without him. They wouldn't even be able to have a match on the street. He created AEW, he got them a TV deal with TNT, and it was all because of him. Jericho said when he found out that the winner of the Battle Royal would challenge either him or Omega for the championship at All Out, he watched that Battle Royal closely. He said, I saw a lot of guys that could have won that match. The Kid with No Legs, Michael Oil Nakazawa, Brandon Cutler. I don't even know who he is. He's the Young Bucks Cabana Boy. He's like, and they all got thrown out one by one. He then said Hangman Page was the last man standing. And Hangman Page is one of the best in the world. And when he beats him, it'll be another notch on his belt. He said, but if he loses, that may be the end of AEW because it's the beginning of the end of his career. He said, without him, there will not be an AEW. He said he could not lose to the Hangman. He said, and that's why he attacked him earlier in the night and left him in a pool of his own blood. He said, you can't trust Chris Jericho. You never know when I'm going to come and attack you, when I'm going to show up. He said it all out. By becoming the AEW World Champion, he's going to prove that he is the reason that AEW exists. He said he's going to prove that the Hangman is nothing more than a little bitch. This would then bring out Hangman Page. The two would fight before referees and agents and what they called coaches would come out and break them up. Saw a lot of different people come out there. SCU, Peter Avalon, Jack Evans, Angelico. Held the guys apart. Hangman broke free. Jericho, for some reason, was going to fight a guy in the crowd after he got thrown out of the ring. Same guy that Kip Sabian, for some reason, kissed early in the night. I forgot to mention that. Really good build here for this main event for All Out, though. I thought it was good. Whether Jericho messed up or not, forgetting to do the promo earlier, I think this was a lot more effective than what it could have been. So then, we move on to our main event. The Young Bucks against Cody and Dustin, the Brotherhood. And, Young Bucks are great. Cody and Dustin, really, really good. Very psychological match. A lot less high-flying than you would have expected from the Bucks, which was fine. Dustin looked great. I thought that he was really well for a man in his 50s, or right at 50. So the Bucks dumped Cody and Dustin, and they mocked them early on by tearfully hugging. The Bucks got the heat on Dustin, and it was noted that Dustin has been wrestling longer than Nick has been alive. Nick's almost 30 years old, and Dustin's been wrestling for, I think he said Dustin's been wrestling for a little over 30 years. Dustin would have gotten the tag on multiple occasions, but Cody kept getting dragged off the apron. Nick mocked Dustin, begging for the tag, so Dustin dropped him with an uppercut. Both Cody and Dustin did moonsaults. Cody also did tope to Matt on the ramp. Cody used a reverse superplex and went for a vertebreaker. Matt got out of that, and he decided to dive shoulder first into the post. They stated that these are square posts, not like the normal round post, so it hurts harder. It hurts more when you get thrown into them. Cody and Dustin did what they promised earlier, which was grab a body part and work it over. Nick finally got the tag and ran wild. Both teams used double submissions. The Bucks used the sharpshooter, and the Brotherhood, used the figure four. Cody broke up a Meltzer driver attempt with a beautiful disaster kick. The Rhodes used a double team crossroads, so basically a magic killer. Got a pin right there on Matt, got broke up by Nick. All guys started fighting in the ring, but Cody accidentally elbowed the referee. With the referee down, we got a double shattered dream on the Bucks. Cody went for a dive to the floor, but got a pair of super kicks for his trouble. We then got more super kicks. Super kick party, I may add. Matt and Nick did Dustin's drop down uppercut. So at one point, the Bucks looked like they were a super kick Cody and Dustin, and instead of kicking them, they stopped. Drop down, boom, uppercut. Cody and Dustin then hit the Bucks with a super kick. Bucks would then hit Cody and Dustin with another super kick. Finally, Matt used a crossroads and then a Meltzer driver on Cody, not Dustin, Cody, to pin him, pick up the victory. Yes, Matt Jackson pinned Cody. A lot of people thought Dustin would have took the pin. So after the match, Matt Jackson gets on the mic, and they start talking for a minute about competition. Noted that he spent years listening to people talk about the mythology of the Rhodes family, the Rhodes brothers. And he said they're one of the greatest teams that they've ever faced off against. Then music hits, and the Young Bucks are all four guys are kind of like, wait, what's going on? Like, legitimately didn't realize what was happening. And Matt literally says, uh-oh, did we go over time again? So, Luchasaurus, Brandi, Jungle Boy, Shahid Khan, and others come down with a big check. They presented it to the Victim Assistance Advisory Council. The $150 check. They said $100,000 came from AEW. Other money came from Kenny Omega, Alex Jebailey, the sponsors of the show, Farrah and Farrah, and more. Cody then said, basically, took a shot at WWE saying, you can't combat us, or something like that. He said, you can't try to put things up on the same time as we have our shows. You can't try to, that's what he said. You can't counter us, is what he said. So you can't counter program us. Cody asked if when they go to TNT, will everybody follow, and the crowd erupted. He said, I don't have a catchphrase to end this, so Kenny? Kenny takes the mic and goes, I can bid you adieu, but we're not going to do that. He's like, I don't think we're on air anymore, so let's change bang with boing. And he did his little thing. He said, good night, boing. And I'm like, they really think they're off air. They really don't think they're on air right now. But they were this whole time. And that was the show. Lasted a little over. There was like 4 hours and 15 minutes by the time the show finally ended. I thought it was a good show, not a great show. There was some stuff that meh, but other stuff that was pretty dang good. I think CIMA and Kenny Omega way better than most people probably expected. The Bucks, Dustin and Cody was just as good as you would think, and everything else was all right. Well, some of it was better than all right. Like I said, Hangman and Kip Sabian was a good match, but there was nothing in that match that really drew me into. It was like, I like this match. It was more of a, okay, that match wasn't bad. So now, I want to hear from you guys. I wonder what you guys thought of tonight's All Elite Wrestling Fight for the Fallen. If you guys do want to call in and give me your thoughts, you can do so at 559-475-8473. You can also send in a text message at 510-906-1341. Just looking at the chat while we do wait for phone calls and text messages here. Actually, we do have a text message. This person here does state, did you see Sami Zayn turning on Kevin Owens? Oh, do you? Nah, I don't. I don't see that happening. But let's take this call. Calling on the air, what's going on?
Hey, Tim, how you doing? This is JD.
How's it going? I'm doing good.
Hey, man. Tonight was a really good show. I really did like how CIMA was able to show and highlight his offense. And Kenny Omega was showing, some really good, I should say, emotional.
Yes.
That you do not normally see in WWE. And, I know you did say that the show was really good, but you had to say a little more, your highlights. You were more in detail, and I want to get your highlights. I think you personally were showing and saying a little bit more about WWE. I'm sorry, AEW, as opposed to WWE. Like you're broadcasting, you seemed more passionate, is what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry if I'm stumbling over my words.
No, you're fine. So,
I mean, what? Go ahead.
If I heard you right, you're saying that I came off like I liked this show better than I usually like WWE shows. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, like your normal WWE, Monday night and Tuesday night.
Right.
You just seem more passionate.
Well, here's the thing. How often do we get just a solid show from WWE and not a show where there's a lot of what the hell was that kind of moments?
True that.
Like, there was nothing horrible on the show or made me scratch my head other than the length of Hangman and Kip Sabian. Nothing on the show made me go, why the hell did they do that? Unlike WWE, where there's at least 5 times a week where they do that.
Yeah, and they do that, quite a bit.
Right.
The only thing that's really that they're really lacking is the librarian. That's just
dumb.
Unfortunately, they tried,
but they're
trying to create an angle, and unfortunately, it's not working.
Right, and like I said, once Peter Avalon stopped the shushing stuff, like a minute or two in, then the two had a pretty good match.
Yeah, they did. They had a really good match, and I really did enjoy it. But that was the only downfall. that was the only downfall that I saw of the entire match. But I do want to make a comment.
Go for it.
Somebody said something about what are you most hyped about being, or I'm sorry, what are you most hyped about going into the show for Fight for the Fallen? Somebody had 3 categories. One category was the Young Bucks, Cody Rhodes, and Jim Cornette. I want to ask this question.
Okay.
Why in the fuck, I'm sorry, I'm going to say it like this.
No worries.
But why in the fuck does Jim Cornette keep coming up with the Young Bucks? The Young Bucks have done so much for the industry, and I keep hearing Jim Cornette, and I'm getting tired of hearing him with the Young Bucks. Can you
So here's the thing
give me an understanding why this?
Here's the thing with Jim Cornette. It's basically he hasn't. How do I phrase this? He's still.
Just say it.
He's still like everybody. He's still like everybody else 5 years ago when everybody used to say,
old-fashioned.
"Oh, well, no, not even that." It's 5 years ago when people said, "Oh, those young bucks, they don't know ring psychology. All they can do is flip. They can flip around and make people cheer for them." But
they're telling stories in the ring.
Well,
but that's what Jim Cornette is always talking about, telling a story in the ring.
Yes, but
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Hear me out. 5 years ago, when the Young Bucks were still getting hot and getting going and becoming a thing, yeah, they were more high-flying and just hitting their spots to pop the crowd. But in the last 3 to 4 years or so, they've got more as far as telling stories in the ring, ring psychology, more than just flips, doing stuff in their matches that leads to things later on in the match. Instead of, we have to hit our spot now so that we can hit our cool spot later. And the thing with Jim Cornette is he's still like all those people that used to say the same thing 5 years ago. All they do is hit their high spots. And for some reason, Jim Cornette thinks that's all they still are. He hasn't evolved with the Young Bucks and seen that they've actually grown as performers, and they're not the same guys that they were 5 years ago when all people wanted to see from them was what cool move can they do next. So I think the thing with him is he still thinks they're the same old Young Bucks that just try to hit the cool move to pop the crowd, not what they are now as far as we know how to tell a story in the ring. We know how to get people emotionally invested, not just, pop for a superplex, or a super kick, pop for a front flip to the outside.
And, I give all respects to Jim Cornette. He's been in the business, and he's done it all over the world. And, the Young Bucks have earned his respect.
Right.
And, it's just, I see a funny angle, and me and you have talked, over, the last couple of months about different angles, and, I've been right about a couple of different things. And it's funny how Jim Cornette keeps coming up, and I don't understand it. I feel like there's an angle. And
no,
I don't understand why.
I don't think it's going to lead to anything. If you're trying to say that they're going to do something with him in AEW, I don't think that's the case at all. I just think Jim Cornette knows the right things to say to keep people talking about himself.
Are you sure about that? Because, they say that Sasha Banks is not going to return, but you know what? Sasha Banks is going to be there tomorrow night. Nikki Cross is kind of... Nikki Cross has kind of been hinting about it.
From what I've heard, that's
in her
not...
in her promos.
From what I've heard, Sasha tomorrow, many are not expecting that in the company. Unless there's something that a lot of people don't know, many don't expect Sasha to be there tomorrow.
I'm one, and I am a WWE fan, and I am a huge fan of WWE. And I love what AEW is doing. And AEW is putting on some major heat for WWE. And I think that, big old Swerve, here comes Sasha Banks,
Not
helping out Bailey. And I see maybe possibly Bailey winning and Sasha Banks kind of helping out. And then at the very end, I hate to say this, Sasha Banks is going to raise Bailey's hand and going to turn heel on her tomorrow night.
I mean,
JD is calling it.
I mean,
I'm saying it.
I mean, Sasha needs to go heel. I think that would be the best thing for her. She's better as a heel than a babyface. But like I said, from everything I've heard, she's not expected by many tomorrow. So unless it happens, if it happens, it's gonna be a surprise to a lot of people in the company itself. But we'll see what happens. Last I was told is it's all on Sasha. When she wants to come back, she can come back. They're not going to tell her, we want you at this day, this time, be there. It's, when are you ready to come back? Whether that's tomorrow, whether that's SummerSlam, whether that's October, we'll see.
Right. I hear you, brother. I hear you. But, hey, man, what did you think of the MJF, Sammy Guevara, and Sean Spears, that three-way match? Wow. That was an awesome match.
Huh? They were a tag team. The three guys were together on the same team.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That was an awesome match.
The way you phrased it was like they were facing each other. I thought the match was cool.
No. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I thought the six-man was cool. It under-delivered a little to me because I expected more between Sean Spears and MJF, especially with how they built it up as like these guys hate each other. But now in the match, it was more of a, I don't want to tag you.
Right. And Angelico, and Angelico and Jack. I mean, those guys. Unfortunately, in that match, they didn't have really any high spots till end. But to be honest, I thought that was a good match.
Yeah, I thought the triple threat tag team match was good as well.
Yeah. But Tim, I want to say you're doing an awesome job, and keep up the good work, big dog. Take out some other phone calls. JD out.
All right, thank you for the call. Have a great night. All right, with that, if anybody else does want to call in, you can do so at 559-475-8473. And let's take this one right here. Calling on the air, what's going on?
Hey, Tim, how's it going?
Pretty good, yourself?
I'm doing all right, man. I just want to comment on the show, and I just gotta say, we all know Kenny's great, but CIMA, oh damn, CIMA's awesome.
Yeah.
I would honestly, in your opinion, do you think CIMA can have a good match with everyone on the roster? I think him and Cody would have a good match. What do you think?
So I hadn't seen maybe more than...
I haven't seen enough from him either.
Right, that's what I say. Before AEW, I've maybe seen maybe 4 CIMA matches, and 2 of those were tag matches. The other 2, I believe, were singles matches. But from what I've seen in AEW, this guy's great. And for him to go in there, have the match they did with Christopher Daniels at Fyter Fest be so great. The tag team match at Double or Nothing, the 6-man that he was in with SCU, great match. And then the stuff that he did tonight with Kenny Omega, I mean, this guy, honestly, if it was me, if he's going to be around full-time once they start television, I'd put him in the mix if they finally get a mid-card title. I don't know if I'd put the title on him, but I'd put him in there as like one of the guys in the running for like a competitor or challenger.
I would agree with that. Hey, is CIMA also is CIMA a trainer too, or no?
Well, basically, yes. Don't quote me on this. I don't know this. I have to look into it. I know he runs, and I think he owns the OWE promotion in China. So he trains. They got their own school, so he trains all the people that works for him. And I'm pretty sure he owns the company as well.
This guy's yeah, that's cool. This guy's great. This guy's great.
Oh yeah.
My final thing is honestly, I would agree with you and like what some other people said in the comments. Oh, by the way, shout out to my friend Woken King Slender in the comments. Like, but the build to for Hangman, it's just not great. It's not great at all.
It's weird that they're playing up this knee injury that was like 2 months ago.
I get the knee thing, but his build's not that great.
Right. But here's my issue is if the knee is this bad, why hasn't he quote unquote had surgery on it? You know what I mean? If they're going to play it up so much in every single match, then why isn't in the storyline he's got to get it taken care of? I get it. He's going to be tough and fight through it. But then, like I said earlier, the other thing, he should not have gone 19 minutes with Kip Sabian. He should have gone 10 minutes. Could have made Kip Sabian still look good, but he should have looked a lot better. Not, I can barely beat this guy.
I don't think he's winning at all. I don't think he's winning at all out, to be honest with you. I don't think he's winning.
I don't either. I think it's going to go to Jericho. And I think that's the better move because you have more baby faces in the company than you do heels, so it'd be harder to set up challengers for Hangman than it would for Jericho.
I would agree. Oh, my last thing, I didn't watch Evolve, but did you see it? Was it good?
I saw 3 matches. I saw the tag team title match, which was pretty good. I saw the Evolve WWN title match where Austin Theory won both titles, which is really good. And then I caught most of the Adam Cole Tozawa match, which was really good for what I saw.
I'm going to have to catch it another time. Well, thanks for taking my call, Tim.
All right, thanks for the call and have a great night. All right, so with that, I want to say thank you to everybody who joined us here in the chat, watched us live here on YouTube, and everybody who watched later here on YouTube or who listened on podcast services all around the world. We're on iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and more. Thank you guys for joining me live for the Fight for the Fallen review and recap. We will be live tomorrow night following WWE Extreme Rules. And then this Monday and Tuesday, we'll be live again following Raw and SmackDown when, if you guys only knew, this week is going to be a very interesting week for the WWE. That's all I'm going to say right now. But have a good night, guys. We'll see you tomorrow after Extreme Rules.